All it takes is one single writer to ruin an entire character's image. Hal Jordan goes from the world's greatest Green Lantern to this. Deathstroke goes from a badass mercenary to this. And in a previous video, I spoke about how Talia al Ghul goes from a sweet and caring woman to DC's very own Bill Cosby. I understand that some people can appreciate these story arcs, but for me, these shocking moments are just that, shocking. They don't really have too much depth or staying power, and most importantly, they don't add to a character's legacy, but stain it. What's even worse is that with the epidemic of superhero fans who don't read comics being so damn loud all the time, they will constantly bring up these moments to discredit your GOAT, whoever may that be. I mean, this video is only going over a few, but no one is safe here. Most of the big names are stained by the period of time they debuted in, like the horrible anti-Japanese imagery with Superman here, and this Captain America one is wild. However, today we are going to discuss 3 more modern ones. One of them even survived a whole universe reboot. So here are 3 characters who had their reputations ruined in one single panel. Hal Jordan is most likely the reason you pressed on this video, and he's honestly the reason I made it. I love the guy, but this arc was far too recent to let it slide. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Hal Jordan, who is almost 40 years old here, gets into a relationship with the Green Lantern Arisa, who is just 13. Yes, 1 and 3, not 3 and 1, 13. And it's not some weird anime thing where she's actually 200 years old and just looks that way. She's actually a child and is written to be that way. So we'll go through her story on how she went from being Hal's quote-unquote little sister to his girlfriend in only a few short years. Arisa first debuts in Tales of the Green Lantern Corps. When she first arrives, she's written to be this younger apprentice character to Hal. She mutters to herself on how she feels so little around all these great Green Lanterns, and Hal tells her he understands that feeling, quote-unquote little sister. He says that a lot, so I want to emphasize that. Now, this comic was written by Mike W. Barr, and I feel like Arisa reminds me a lot of Halo if you guys have read Batman the Outsiders. Plucky teenager who's a fish out of water, just trying to make it by with a lot of well-meaning older heroes around her. Now imagine if Batman started flirting with that teenager, how quickly would Mike get fired? Rightfully so, but for one reason or another, DC was cool with what we know is going to happen. Now that isn't Mike's fault, because in these comics of the first few days as a Green Lantern, Hal is strictly a mentor figure. They have a very platonic and sweet relationship. This will change. When she starts doubting herself, Hal gives her reassurance, and after they beat the big bad of this arc, this panel, which has been memed to death, was actually more platonic in my opinion. I mean, the entire arc she felt like an outsider, so Hal just wanted to congratulate her on doing so well during the mission and make her feel welcome. However, in hindsight, this looks insane. Again, the original writer I am sure did not intend for that to be the case, but just like Talia al Ghul, which we'll get into, all it takes is one writer to ruin your creation. That writer is Steve Englehart, unfortunately. I like some of this dude's Batman comics, so it hurts me to say this, but we need to investigate this man immediately. Really, half of the DC staff during the 80s needs to be investigated, but this guy in particular, because we next see Arisa as a main character in Green Lantern Corps 201, which is really Green Lantern 1960-201, but title changes are confusing. Okay, so this comic already starts out pretty insane. We go from the nice mentor and mentee relationship in the previous comic to now we have this page, where Kamatui and John Stewart get paired up, all romantical, and Arisa sees this, pairing herself up with Hal and looking at him like this. Mind you, Arisa has barely grown up at this point. She's around maybe 13, 14 years old here, yet let's see what they do with her costume. Jesus Christ, man, what is this? Chip, the GOAT, notices they changed their original costumes, and Arisa explains that because they'll be on Earth for a while, they want to differentiate so the Earthlings can tell them apart. Then she says, "I've loved designing since I was a little girl." John Stewart cuts her off. Last year. As you'll see, John Stewart does not fuck with how this little girl conducts herself, and Hal, who is the leader, doesn't do nearly enough to stop her. Arisa then responds by saying she's as grown up as anybody. Aren't I, Hal? Hal, this is your chance to discipline what is basically your surrogate little sister, as you've said. Hell, Arisa could have been your daughter, man. You are so old. Instead, this spineless creep just says, "No comments." Pitiful. Arisa then makes it worse by saying, "I wanted a costume to show me off a little better." This is disgusting. Please read the previous Tales of the Green Lantern Corps and then read this. The difference is insane. The perverted writing in this is crazy. Let's fast forward a bit. Arisa confesses to Kamatui about her love of Hal. Katma is chill here, but she doesn't really set Arisa straight unfortunately and tells her she will keep this a secret. Arisa has this whole arc of her experiencing a mystery illness, which will be important later. but she gets a weird dizziness that just goes away for a while. All throughout the story, Arisa keeps staring at Hal with these doting eyes, making little jokes here and there, and sure, I understand kids do this sometimes, but the writer has to be held to some sort of standard. Hal finally puts his foot down and tells her to date someone her own age, which finally, thank you Hal, set her straight. She of course goes and cries, saying she has something to prove. Okay, here's where things get really fucked up. Hal and Arisa are stuck in this mineshaft after a battle with the Black Hand, who has sucked all their power ring energy. Hal and her talk, and he realizes that she's aged up so fast that she has a woman's body now. I want to emphasize, body. They will try to convince you that her mind is aged up too, but she acts like a child still. After Arisa convulses, Hal smacks the shit out of her to wake her up. I don't know why he did this, but it was funny as fuck. And they explain how she's experiencing dizziness from her aging up. So subconsciously, she willed her power ring to change her body into a full-grown woman because of her desires. Those desires, of course, were to be good enough for Hal Jordan to be a woman. Thankfully, Hal still tells her it's not going to happen, that he simply doesn't feel the same way about her. Arisa is very persistent though, more persistent than any grown woman would be for a homosexual like Hal Jordan. Now, even though Hal's put his foot down, told her he's not interested, and even now with a full-grown woman's body, says no, all it takes is one encounter with this wild beast where Arisa saves Hal's life for this to change. He says, "Honey, you saved my life." She says, "Don't call me honey, Hal, unless you mean it." Oh god, oh no, I hate this so much. We have this panel of them just standing there and not talking. Then after the other Green Lanterns go to rescue them after the big battle, they find Hal Jordan, a damn near 40-year-old man, making out with her, a child. Look at their faces, man. John, that's your boy. They caught your man in 4K.
Hey, you know they got your mans. They got your mans on sex assault charges. Yeah, the nigga you be hanging with.
Later, after doing some media cover-up so Hal doesn't get outed as a pedophile, John thinks to himself on how fucked this is. He still does not like this at all. Katma doesn't get why it's foul though, but John says it bothers him. She was literally just a kid a week ago and forced herself into adulthood, but without any of the experiences that come with it. Just artificially changing your body to explain away an insanely inappropriate relationship. Katma defends this bullshit, which I guess she has to, otherwise the writer makes Hal out to be the bad guy. Later, on the same page, we get another disgusting kiss between them in this infamous panel. "It's not going to be easy, honey," Hal says. Arisa replies, "We can do it though. It'll take a while for them to stop thinking of me as a little girl, but they will. I just have to show them I'm the same Arisa they knew, only better." Which is what I expect from this kid, but the next line has ruined Hal Jordan's legacy forever. He says, "And I have to show them that I'm not a child molester." Oh god, you are though. You are Hal Jordan. Arisa defends him and almost praises him here for quote-unquote fighting her off when she was still a child, which mind you was a week ago. Hal of course agrees and quotes Kilowog to help with this case here, like Kilowog co-signed him or some shit. Then we just get this panel of Kilowog looking at them like this. Dude, Kilowog did not say that shit, man. Leave him out of this. Now, DCS tries to fix this by aging up Arisa in the Jeff Johns run, but honestly, they should just get rid of a character and replace her with someone else. The damage has been done, and Hal should only be either with Carol Ferris or a new love interest. Surprisingly, one story arc they never bothered to change is with everyone's favorite island owner, Slade Wilson. Slade Wilson, probably one of the coolest assassin characters in comics that I cannot in good faith be a fan of. It's like listening to Ignition by R. Kelly. You know the song is good, but if you play it at the function, you definitely won't be invited back. So anytime people ask me who I like, I have to say some bullshit like Deadpool. Why is that though? What happened to Deathstroke that made him so radioactive amongst the comic book community? We all know it's the Judas Contract. I've covered this run before, but seriously, go read it. Unlike the previous arc with Hal Jordan, this one is actually well written. Marv Wolfman might be an odd individual, to say the least, but he was a great writer in my honest opinion. Slade debuts as a Teen Titans villain, and as we know, he was contacted by Hyde to destroy them. Slade declines their offer and they do the slimiest thing imaginable. They go to his son and offer powers in exchange for a service of killing the Titans. This comes with a cost. It's a real monkey's paw situation, as you'll see. Ravager, who is Slade's biological son, does not know that Deathstroke is his father, yet he still idolizes him and wants to be just like him. Honestly realistic. Some teenage boys idolize Griffith, so it could always be worse. However, because Slade Wilson is a horrible deadbeat dad, his son gets roped into this hive thing, tries to beat the Titans, with Deathstroke helping out of pity, and the cost that comes with the powers materializes, aging Ravager instantly and killing him. This is why Deathstroke hates the Titans. He inherits the contract Ravager signed with High out of respect and tries to fulfill it every time. And it's really dumb, but you know, it's comics. Then, as you all know, Terra Markov, who was a child conceived out of wedlock with the Markovian king, half-sister of Rion Markov, the rightful ruler, she gets these powers, becomes a menace in town, and Beast Boy, after a long time of trying to convince her to join, succeeds. She joins as a mole for Slade and then betrays them, but before all that happens, we get this scene here. We see Deathstroke and Terra rewatching footage of the Titans while he game plans on how to beat them. They got Terra looking like this, a 15-year-old girl wearing nothing but a bathrobe and smoking a cigarette. I think you know what they're trying to imply here. This scene is then recreated in newer comics. I mean, they even show them kissing in a one-night stand. I don't know why, but they love this arc at DC apparently. Now you should watch my Deathstroke video for full context, but what makes this worse is that Deathstroke feels zero guilt about this. I mean, he brushes off Beast Boy's love for her with this line: "That little vixen was a better liar than I thought." Later, he even convinces Beast Boy that Terra was quote-unquote born bad. And finally, Beast Boy, a 16-year-old here, so I get why he said this, but he says, "Slade, did you ever make love to Tara?" And Slade just looks down in shame. Bro, if you have to hesitate, you know it's bad. He then has the gall to say, "What difference does it make?" It makes a lot of difference, Deathstroke. Put him on every list imaginable. Thankfully for Deathstroke and of course Hal Jordan, they are popular male characters who are able to have their own solo runs and still continue to be popular even after these insane arcs. A character who did not have this luxury and is still ruined to this day is my girl Talia al Ghul. Now I do think you should watch my video on Talia al Ghul and give a lot of context on how her arc was written to be a more morally grey love interest and less of a Ra's al Ghul 2.0, but here's the gist of it. Talia starts out as a sweet and caring woman who's studying medicine and doesn't know what she really wants out of life, but knows two things. One is that she has the hots for Batman, like bad, and two is she feels loyal to her father, even though she knows he's not the best guy. Because she is the only family he has, she wants to be a dutiful daughter. During her first few issues, we see her be caring yet conniving, kind but vengeful, and overall just a very three-dimensional deuteragonist for Bruce to explore romance with. This all culminates in Batman 243 and 244, where we get our first appearance of the Lazarus Pit, this iconic sword battle between Ra's and Bruce. Unfortunately, due to bad luck, Bruce gets pricked by this deadly scorpion and is bound to die soon. Ra's leaves him to die and calls Talia to come with them. She says, "Give me one moment," to give her love a final goodbye kiss. Bruce, who says that normally Talia's kisses are sweet and warm, this final kiss is bitter. It's because she's slipping him the antidote. This is where her love of Batman becomes greater than her loyalty to her father. Batman captures Ra's and takes him to jail, but spares Talia out of love, even though she's been accomplice to so many crimes. Now the next big story is really important because Grant Morrison, one of the best to do it, must have read it while they were half asleep. Batman, Son of the Demon, written by my guy, Mike W. Barr. It falls directly after Batman 244, where Batman and Talia al Ghul have another adventure. She's trying to show her father that she's still loyal to him, but also loves Bruce. They have consensual sex and Talia gets pregnant. Talia makes a very mature choice to give the baby up for adoption. Because of all this chaos and violence that surrounds their life, she knows it is an environment to raise a baby in. This all gets ruined in one page. They create this great story for Damian Wayne by sacrificing Talia al Ghul completely, making her love of Batman some ruse to get his DNA, I guess, turning Talia from this complex female character into a broodmare instead of an actual love interest, and most importantly, turning her into a rapist. Look at what you are robbed of, people. Instead, we just get the female version of Ra's al Ghul, who doesn't care about her baby like she did in Son of the Demon, but instead raises Damian to be this violent, murdering brat. Worst of all, they just make her mean and miserable and petty. She isn't a lovely Talia al Ghul anymore, but just a generic Eastern assassin lady. We already have enough stereotypical characters like that. In conclusion, all it takes is one writer to ruin everything you love. I really miss the old Talia al Ghul. I hate that we keep traumatizing Tara Markov, and I hope we can move past that short Arisa arc in Green Lantern Corps. I'm definitely making a part 2 for Marvel characters, so comment below any moments I should cover that ruin a character's reputation. Sorry this video is short, I am going to a new place with my very own studio room, so I should be able to make 2 videos a week hopefully, and if you guys are down for it, I'd like to do some face cam stuff so I can get real animated, and you can hopefully get to know me more. Big shout out to all the members listed here. This might be a bit out of date by the time it releases, but huge shout out to all the OG 7 members, my day 1 Cable, Joey, my dog, Zuzu Pazuzu, very fun name to say, Shane Stapler, who just upgraded, I appreciate you man, and finally Aquamarine Adenine, also very fun to say. That's it for today though guys, peace.